Hey guys, glad to see y'all in here. As I always like to say, it's always good to see my friends. You know who your friends are. Hello, Scarecrow, Patricia Ann, Linda Horner, Miss Mary. I always count on you to do that. Hey, 12B, how you doing, brother?
Every time.
All right. Thank you guys for popping in here. I hope you stay a while. I want to gather everybody that's in here together as friends like we are. But I want to gather people who see this on the replay, and I want to gather them in, and I want them to pay attention to what John and I have to say tonight and what you have to say in the chat, and how we hopefully will be interacting with you. My PayPal information will be somewhere in the chat, possibly. I don't push that, but it's always nice to get a little something in PayPal. And with that note, I want to thank Scarecrow. I want to thank Jeremy Edwards. And I want to thank Jeff B. for their kind PayPal donations. It was very kind of them, and I'm grateful. Thank you. So I always want to welcome my dear friend, Fight and Defend, to our stream.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, Sam. Glad to see you popped in. I'm glad you can make it. Before we get into this thing, John, we just need to talk a little bit. Because as we get into this edition of Deplorable Bobby, we're going to see how naive, or maybe they're just stupid people. I don't know, but I do know that if we don't rally around our flag, our Constitution, sometime soon, like right now, and stand up for God, we need to fight the good fight and never lose sight of our goal. This is a war we dare not lose. We've heard for decades how our children will pay the price for what we do now. Well, it's never been more prevalent in any time in history than it is right now. Right now, everything that we do affects our children because they're passing the buck and they're padding their pockets. Think about it like this. Do you love your family? Well, of course you do. We all love our families and our pets and our friends. Yeah, we're loving people. But are you willing to fight and maybe die? Even if it's for just you and your family, are you willing to fight the fight and maybe die trying to protect your home, your family, and your right to worship your God as you understand him? The questions get a little harder when you have to realize that this isn't just talk. We're not just sitting here bumping our gums talking about something that might someday never happen. Well, I hope and pray that it never happens. But we need to be prepared now. The way society is going and our politics is going and the way our country is failing and falling, we need to be aware. We need to be prepared and aware. We can't stand by any longer and say, okay, well, when the time comes, we're going to get ready. Well, no, the time has come. And if you're not ready, you're not ready. I'm not saying that we're going to have an all-out war tomorrow, but soon they're going to make themselves known. And they're going to move forward on their agendas, which only includes us as a defeated foe. That's all they see us as a defeated foe. But that won't happen, my friends, until we, the people, the true patriots, we will save our nation, our Constitution, and we'll bring God back into our lives as the prayers of the saints reach heaven. You and me, along with every person who bends a knee to God, will experience this blessing. But who will stand and fight? Who will surrender? And who will run? And with that, dear friend, Fight and Defend, I'm going to turn that over to you.
Well, this is a bit of an example on how they look at us, folks. And after I read this, I was livid. Livid. Maryland is having a little problem with their red flag laws. And now
California Critic, how you doing, brother?
We're going to have a problem with this. Hang on.
Hey, C, how you doing? Scarecrow.
November 5th, 2018. Red flag law turns deadly. Officer kills man. October 1st, 2019. Red flag laws. First year in Maryland sees fatal police shooting. And then we had one March 14th, 2020, where police went in to take the guns away from an individual that supposedly wasn't supposed to have them. They gave no reason why.
Yeah.
They said he was aggressive and they shot him dead. Except eyewitness report said he was asleep in bed. Investigation found he was in fact asleep in bed. And they shot him and killed him, and they shot his girlfriend. Okay? So they're backpedaling.
Well, imagine so.
And this is in Montgomery County. This burns my backside. So let's victimize the victim.
Yeah.
Okay? This is what they said about him. Let's see. They called it a high-risk search warrant. No knock. They just went in. They said detectives were following up on a complaint from the public that he was prohibited for possessing firearms. Okay. So this is what they end up saying now. Hang on one sec. They did an interview with a good friend of his. They said this guy was unbelievable, very friendly, funny guy. He had interest in cryptocurrency, and he often talked about politics. He said he was a libertarian who frequented the 4chan and Reddit message boards, sites popular for internet trolls. So there's one thing. On his social media accounts, they gave his handle, his username, and he said he was with a group, My Militia, and that he was an active 3%er and looking for local members and recruits. So you take this guy, you murder him.
Sure.
And then you turn him into the bad guy to protect your own ass. Are you freaking kidding me?
Well, and that's why a lot of people absolutely refuse to involve a policeman in anything that involves them.
Yep.
I mean, and that's the truth. And I have to understand their reasoning behind that. I somewhat feel the same way. But as of yet, I have not had a bad encounter with a cop, that I can ever remember. I've just never been in a situation to where I was the bad guy, I guess.
Yep.
So I never had any trouble with them. But anyhow,
the other problem is now, and this is the media part of this.
Okay.
That they found a photograph posted on his page, holding a rifle, and then holding up something that said "Boogaloo." All right, slang used by militia members and other extremists to describe a future civil war in the U.S. Civil war. So if you read that article, people will go civil war, and they'll look it up and they'll go, "Oh, we're going to be fighting against each other."
It's not.
We're not. This is going to be a revolutionary war. We're fighting against evil. We're fighting against the crooks. I love how they change this stuff around to make the victim look like the bad guy.
Always. And they've always got, their agenda to protect, and they'll tell any lie. They'll blackmail you. They'll plant drugs on you or information on you that doesn't involve you in any way, but yet they connect you to it so they can put you through the rigors of being interrogated, locked up, having to hire an attorney, spend thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to clear yourself if you're able to.
Yep.
I mean, and they know that that's all they have to do is instigate this whole thing, and then it just snowballs throughout the judicial system, and it's there's no way that the little man can fight City Hall. Literally, you've always heard that all your life. Can't fight City Hall. Well, sometimes you can, but most times you're shot down before you ever get past the front steps.
if you go at it alone. If
Yep.
you go in a group, they got a problem.
Yep.
You know, and this is the whole thing, people. Now, surprisingly enough, their department is not going to handle the more investigation in this case. They're going to have the next town over handle the investigation of this case now.
Yeah.
Well, I have all the faith in the world in the next county investigating it. Are you kidding me? That's like putting alcohol in a package store with the keys and say, don't drink anything. I'll be back in an hour. Are you freaking kidding me? So, but they have a pattern of killing people that they are going after for the red flag laws. They have 4 already. This law hasn't been out that long, and they've already killed 4 people. Think about that, people. Think about that. They don't give a rat's behind about you people. Now, they're hyping it up, making him like he's some crazy extremist to cover their backsides. They know they're wrong. They murdered him, plain and simple. Every time I read a story like this, I think about Ruby Ridge over and over and
over again. Yeah.
Over again. Every freaking time. And let's see, who was running that show? Oh, that's right, Bill Barr.
Yeah, how about that? And see, that's what we have to deal with today. Now, I hate to be jumping ship on the topic, but how does Bill Barr fit into today? Why is he even there? Especially when he's a Democrat?
Yeah.
So why did President Trump, I have to clear my throat every time I say that now because he's not acting very presidential, in my opinion. But anyway, he selected Bill Barr. He put that Inspector Ray, over the FBI. What a dork he is. Mm-hmm. And then you've got McCabe and Strzok and Page and Comey and Brennan and Clapper. You've got all these people who should be in jail now as we speak.
Don't hold your breath. Don't even waste your time. Don't even waste your time.
Sam brought Obama and Hillary. I got to throw them in there.
Yeah, don't waste your breath. It's a waste of time. All right, it's a pipe dream, plain and simple.
Sure it is.
Sam brought up a good point, and this is an issue I want to bring up. Law enforcement at this point now, people, is basically sovereign. They are sovereign citizens. They can do whatever the hell they want to you and get away with it. Okay?
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. When you have moments and you think, well, I can't do this, I can't do that, well, I got to get a permit for this or I got to get a license for that. Absolutely bullshit. If they're going to be sovereign, we are sovereign.
Sure. You can be a sovereign citizen.
Most people don't realize, and I mean, I don't ever get into this issue because people say, oh, sovereign citizens are nuts. But if you read the statute, we do not, as average citizens, need a driver's license. A driver's license is for interstate commerce only, and it's still on the books. That is legit. Nobody needs a driver's license unless you're driving interstate commerce for profit. That's it.
Hey, Jeff B. I didn't know I remember vaguely that you said something one time about you lost your guns. That's terrible. I can't believe it. I don't know the situation, but yeah, you got to wait for the courts to reopen so you can try again. And you'll be lucky if you get in by September. But there you go. That's red flag laws for you, and that's gun confiscation.
So on top of all that, let me throw this in. This will blow your mind. Police brutality bonds in 12 cities and counties. Law enforcement is buying into brutality bonds through Wall Street to cover the liability damages because they're being sued so many times.
California Critic has a question for you. He said, talk about qualified immunity.
Yes, absolutely.
He said, everybody in the chat, look it up, qualified immunity. You'll be surprised what they can get away with.
Yep.
So I know that you've actually used qualified immunity in your line of work. So give us a a 5-minute block of instruction on what that entails and means.
Well, by law, you know why it doesn't say protect and serve on cruisers anymore? Because by law, they don't have to protect you. They get paid to investigate after the fact. If I went to a scene and it was a shootout or a stabbing,
right,
back in my cruiser and drive on down the street, I don't have to legally protect you. I just am responsible for investigating after the fact. Same with the fire departments. Your tax dollars pay to get the fire trucks to the scene. The firemen can walk away. This is the problem, and it's been on the books forever. Law enforcement does not have to protect you, people. I'm telling you right now, you can look it up. It's in the laws. All right. And in this day and age, it's not about protect and serve. There, it's about bending you over and emptying your wallets. It used to be law enforcement. Now it's revenue generators. Whole different thing.
Sure.
That's what it's all about. If you look, we used to call it in-rem, okay, where you can seize people's property. I mean, we'd seize cars, money, dope, whatever. You could seize whatever the heck you wanted. There's a good article on, I'll have to find the site that I watched today. And it was a retired cop talking to me. And he was the leader of a group that's what they did. And they would actually, the cops would actually go by the dealers' houses and find out who had the nicest car. And they'd hit that house and take the car in the process.
Sure. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that, brother.
And what happens is when you hit a house and there's a large sum of money, the department gets a chunk of that money. The rest goes to the federal government.
Oh, sure.
Like there was one time we seized a guy's Volvo. He paid cash for it. The car was a beautiful car. It was a new car, but he paid cash for it. And we got him with 10 pounds of weed in it. So we seized the car. The feds roll in 3 months later and they take my freaking car and leave me a little piece of crap Mazda RX-7. That was actually taken by somebody in my town. So I couldn't even use the car to do undercover work because they knew we seized their car. And the feds took the good car and left with it, the good car and the money. And let me tell you, they get a lot of money, a lot of freaking money. They really do.
I'm sure.
You know, people ask me over the years, with all the dope and money you had through your hands, how much do you think you had? And I tell everybody the same thing. I could own my own island.
Millions.
And I never once thought about pocketing any of it, but I certainly could have. But that's what's happening now, is you're seeing more and more cops getting caught up selling the dope that they're it's called rips. We used to call it rips, where you'd go out and toss a drug dealer. You wouldn't even arrest him. You just toss him, take his dope and his money and his gold and his car keys.
Yeah.
And that was it. You know, and 99% of the time they wouldn't say boo. But every once in a while, you'll get that one guy that'll go, you know what? I'll take the hit. This dirtbag cop's going down. And they'd roll in to the state's attorney's office and go, hey, he says he got 5 bundles off me. I had 20 bundles on me. Where'd the other 15 go? And they have to investigate.
Uh-huh.
And that's how they catch 30 cops. So it's getting crazy. But yes, police departments are actually buying bonds, police brutality bonds, to cover the cost of all the lawsuits that are going on right now. That's sick. That is freaking sick. So think of that, people.
Bless your heart, Jeff B. Thank you for being kind enough and trusting enough in us to share that with us. My heart goes out to you, and I hope he does get 30 years, and I hope it's a lifetime for him.
You know, let me comment on that.
Sure,
man. I'll tell you, Jeff B, I feel for you, brother. That sucks. That really sucks. So once again, that's what we call victimizing the victim. So not only did you lose your son, but the bastards took your own protection, you know? And I understand the rage. Trust me. I've told Bobby of a story of a little girl that was murdered. And I've always said, If that SOB ever gets out, I'm getting them.
Yeah. Because you have a personal interest in it.
Absolutely.
Dude, you know, and that's the kind of stuff that doesn't go away.
Yeah. I'm reading Jeff say, I have been to court 3 times now and to get them back. And each time the cops lied and raised the bar for me to get my stuff. Yes, they will. I mean,
every time.
Yeah. Look at what they did to the people after Katrina. They seized all those guns and they said, oh, yeah, everybody could get them back. And then they found them in 55-gallon drums of acid. They were all crap. They don't care. They don't want you having your guns back. You're a threat to them. It's completely sick.
And you can bet if they're not dropping them in vats of acid, they're throwing them in a room on a concrete floor with concrete walls, and they're just tossing them in there willy-nilly on top of each other, just beating them up.
Read what California Critic just wrote. My aunt's ex-husband got arrested with 10 pounds of drugs, $50K in cash, and 15 guns. When he went to trial, there were only 2 pounds, $5,000 in cash, and 5 guns. There you go. See? I used to see that stuff.
I'm sure you did.
And that's why the politics was what killed it for me. I did 15 years and I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing this crap anymore. I am not.
It makes sense. It's hard to do a job like that when you have, you know, half a brain and a heart.
Yep.
You know?
But Jeff, I mean, I feel for you. That burns me. That someday we'll talk. I'd like to know what department and stuff that was involved.
California Critic, if you want me to, I'll be happy to pass him on to your phone number, or I'll send you his either way. So if y'all want to get together and talk a little bit.
Yeah, let me go back. Linda Horner said bonds with question marks. Yes, Linda. Here's some of the cities. Bethlehem, Pennsylvania has spent $7.39 million on bonds. Canton, Ohio, $1.8 million. Chicago, Illinois, $709.3 million. Cleveland, Ohio, $12.9 million. Fullerton, California, $1 million. Hammond, Indiana, $4.8 million. Lake County, Indiana, $18.1 million. That's just to name a few of them. Really? That's how bad things are, that you have to take out bonds to cover the damage you're causing to the people? Oh, that crap has got to stop.
Yeah, we're running them off, Rooster. I don't know what it is, but yeah, we've lost 8 in the last few minutes. They're talking about real people in the chat, and now we're down to 12. So yeah, it was up to over 20, and then boom, it just went down. They didn't like what we were talking about, I guess. They're going to be the sheeple who believe that the police are there to protect and serve, and at their beck and call, all they have to do is dial 911. Well, dial 911 at the wrong time of the day and see how quick they get there.
You know,
go ahead.
Sad thing is, Bobby, and there again, you know, if that's the reason why they left, they're asleep. I'm telling this from experience. If you don't want to listen, that's fine. Be asleep. I don't care. You're not worth me protecting at that point, as far as I'm concerned. I'm protecting the people that understand, that, you know, care. They believe in America. They believe in the flag, and they just can't protect themselves. I'll stand behind you. I'll stand in front of you every freaking time. But these people that are asleep now, don't come crawling later looking for help. I'm done with that point. I really am. We're past talking, people. You know, it's the same old crap. Here's another example I talked to Bobby about. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. In Mississippi, the Holly Springs, Mississippi, the church that the pastor defied the stay-at-home order and was arrested and filed suit against the town and the police department. Well, that church blew up Wednesday night, Tuesday night. It's burnt down to the ground, people. Burnt down to the ground. 10-1, they never make an arrest in that.
Because it was the cops that probably had it set. I mean, if they didn't set it, they paid somebody to set it. or gave somebody a, hey, we'll forget this arrest with that 15 pounds of cocaine and let you keep the cocaine if you'll just do this little favor for us. And those people, I'll be honest with you, my younger years, I knew a lot of drug dealers, and I've never seen one yet that wouldn't do anything for money. Or didn't know somebody that would do it for money. You know how the network works.
Look at all the raids where people have been killed, and then they found out after it was the wrong address.
I read one just the other day where this woman killed 3, and herself as well got killed. But the cops were at the wrong address. They were supposed to be 10 miles away across town.
Yeah. California Critic, is that, you said it was a homeless liberal atheist that burned the church down?
Okay, I hadn't heard that. A homeless atheist? And what was the other word?
He says it was a homeless liberal atheist.
Liberal, okay. Yeah. And
the reason why I asked that is because it was a homeless person has been used so many times.
Well, I've been to that little town in Mississippi. Many times I've been to it and through it when I drove an 18-wheeler. And I want to tell you what, at church they're talking about ain't much bigger than a cottage. It's a little bitty church, but it's been there for a long, long time. And if I'm not mistaken, it's also a Black Baptist church, which made it even worse. As far as I think they wrote some graffiti on there as well.
It was the First Pentecostal Church, Holly Springs. They said there was a major explosion in the back of the church and it blew out the front. Somebody spray painted on the building what little is remaining standing. Bet you stay home now, hypocrites.
Exactly.
That's what they sprayed on the building.
Yep. But it was eventually burnt to the ground. Am I right?
Yes, it's gone. It's gone. There's nothing left to rebuild. So, it says the church pastor, Jerry Waldrop, filed a lawsuit against the city last month after police broke up their Easter service and gave the church a citation because parishioners were not social distancing.
Oh, of course.
Easter.
They don't care. They don't care. It's all about power. It's just like I want to talk about this Houston, Texas deal for a minute.
Brewster, Mississippi. Holly Springs, Mississippi.
Holly Springs, Mississippi. But Houston police chief warns of violence because of the man-made, man-released bioweapon known as the COVID-19 virus hoax. That's my words. Police tell us that Kendrick, Dante Thomas, shot his pregnant ex-girlfriend, her sister, her mother, and the new boyfriend of his ex-girlfriend. So you see, that all plays together there. And at the end of March, the Houston mayor, Sylvester Turner, called on criminals. Here's what the mayors said after this shooting. They said, stay at home, okay? Oh, that's the sheriff. Let me get back up here to the mayor. Sylvester Turner called on criminals to chill, while those in power is the key word here, those in power address the pandemic situation, using one of Sam's words there for pandemic. And I want to quote the sheriff. Here's what he said. Stay at home, okay? Don't commit any crimes, okay? And that way, they'll be safe and out of jail, and the police officers can stay safe and go home to their families, okay? He says okay a lot. So everybody chill. Cooks and criminals, you chill. Wait until the COVID-19 is over, which I call a hoax.
Yeah.
Okay? And then he says, and then we will all be okay. We are sitting on this powder keg waiting for a spark to ignite the whole thing in our faces. And that's exactly what they're doing, is they're sitting on a powder keg that will not last very long. But yet they're stupid enough to try to put this kind of crap out there for you to see and hear and believe.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well,
But you please just don't commit any crimes, criminals and crooks. We'll leave you alone. Just give us a break. Don't make us have to hunt you down. Because they're not going to anyway. They made it very plain to the criminals, you have carte blanche. Do whatever you want to do. We're not going to bother you.
They want the chaos.
Yeah.
They want the chaos. Hey, this will blow your mind. I just got this in. This is in Illinois. Senator William E. Brady, the Illinois minority leader in the state Senate, and he's a Republican, has introduced legislation on Wednesday that will give government the right to confiscate property from business owners who defy their lockdown orders. Property includes vehicles, animals, food, clothing, medicine, and real estate from private citizens. Did you get that?
Yeah.
That's from a Republican, people.
So why should we fear the Democrats? We have enough to fear right in our face.
Don't trust any of them. Not a freaking one of them. Not a one of them. This is a perfect example right here. So I get a few things out of this. All right. They're going to take the time to pass a bill for defying lockdown. So are they planning on more lockdowns? Obviously they are.
Well, that's what I heard today, was that what we're seeing right now is only going to get worse, and it's going to last well into next year. Yep. Possibly even up to 10 years, they said.
This is going to fall under the emergency powers of the governor in each state.
Really? Like California critic says, a totally unprecedented power grab.
Yes, it says the proposal states that among the emergency powers of the governor is to, on behalf of this state, to take possession of and to acquire full title or a lesser specific interest in any personal property as may be necessary to accomplish the objectives set forth in Section 2 of this act, including airplanes, automobiles, trucks, trailers, buses, and other vehicles, coal, oils, gasoline, and other fuels by means of propulsion, explosive materials, equipment, and supplies, animals and livestock, feed and seed, food and provisions for humans and animals, clothing and bedding, and medicines and medical and surgical supplies. Are you freaking kidding me?
That's what they can take from you.
That's what they're going to be able to take from you if this bill passes. Think of that, people.
They will leave you
nothing.
Naked.
Is it worth dying for now, people?
Naked, standing. Well, if you're either going to be standing in the meadow or you're going to be standing in the woods, I don't know where you'll be standing, but you'll be standing naked because they're going to take your clothes and everything else, your animals, your pets. And if they they'd love to get their hands on Nugget and retrain her as a guard dog or attack dog. But yeah, my mom's Schnauzer, nah, they'd just shoot her because she's worthless. She's a lap dog.
It would also allow them for a limited period to occupy and use your real estate.
Exactly.
Necessary to accomplish those objectives.
Yeah, it's called eminent domain.
Yep.
They can come in there and take over your house at any time.
Unfreaking believable.
For any reason. They don't even have to have a reason.
Are we
That's
awake?
why I'm going to be wary if they come knocking on my door for any reason. What do I do? Maybe they're coming to do a welfare check on my mother. I don't know. And I'm, that's when you got to have a little discernment and try to, figure things out before things get way out of hand real quick. You know what I mean? They need to be making themselves known and what they want known early on. So we'll just have to see how that goes. I'm not going to be like these people say, oh, all cops are bad. Kill them all. Kill them all. No, we may have to kill some. They'll probably kill some of us. But not everybody's bad. Not everybody's bad.
No, they're not. But you know what? I mean, this is just blatant in your face. This is how they're thinking.
I know that's exactly how they're thinking. And the people who are good are going to be stuck in the middle with you. And I don't mean you as you, John. I'm talking about, just John Citizen. So they're going to have to stand for something, or they're going to have to fall for everything like everybody else does. So there again, we don't know what the cops are going to do, but it's just like any robbery. And we've had a robbery in progress by the Demon Rat Party for years. They've been watchful, and they've been on lookout for demonic governors of California and Illinois and Connecticut and New Jersey and New York. These governors are attempting to steal, and yes, I said steal, from the federal treasury in order to make up for the decades of unfunded liabilities that they've accrued over the years. They've been doing a lot like Obama did. Well, we'll buy it now and pay for it later. Well, sometimes later never comes. Known associates include Skeletor Pelosi and Chuck U. Schumer. They're all manipulative and dangerous, and more than likely, they intend to stab innocent Americans in the back. Former judge of the elections, Dominic DeMuro, has been charged with multiple counts of election fraud. DeMuro concealed that a political consultant not named paid DeMuro to illegally doctor votes for many Democratic, as I like to say, demon-ratic candidates. The bribery money is designed as a disguised consulting fee. So you see, here we go again. We've got more and more corruption right in front of our face, and absolutely nothing's being done about it.
Yeah.
They're putting it right in our face and then just walking away with a smile. And that's got to stop, John.
Oh,
I mean, it needs to stop. Let's put it that way. And I think when we return to America 2.0, we're not going to be the same America that we were 6 months ago or a year ago.
no.
And we're going to have to resign ourselves to understand that there's a lot of changes that are taking place right now that will never be reversed.
Yes.
A lot of executive orders are being written, a lot of laws and rules and that kind of thing are being thrown around all over DC, even though they're not there. They're doing it on the phone, I guess, which makes it easier. They're having conference calls and getting their heads together in private, so they can get everything they can get out of everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like the stimulus, I don't have a problem with them helping people who are in need during this layoff and lockdown, whatever you want to call it. But I have a problem when 500 million of it's going to go to Planned Parenthood, and
illegals.
Yep, and to illegals. They're going to also get something like $2.5 million of that money.
Yeah.
And it's just craziness. I mean, but we're letting it happen. And the only reason we're letting it happen is because we're not ready to pull the first trigger.
Yeah.
Well,
like we've been saying, they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop until we've had enough. People are fighting back. I got an article here about blue state governors struggling to enforce their lockdown orders. People are standing up, and I'm happy to see. I actually watched the video even in California.
Really good.
And the cops are standing there threatening them like they were children. You have, to the count of 5 to leave the area. Otherwise, use non-lethal force. What are you threatening us?
Yeah, they're going to shoot you with pepper spray.
Yeah, and rubber bullets. They said they announced it. One good note that article that I've got is Virginia Democrat City Council flips to GOP in response to Northrum's gun control. They said the surge was huge. The surge in turnout among Republican voters.
Imagine that.
The city councils in Stanton, Waynesboro, Virginia flipped from Democrat to Republican on Tuesday as the voters rejected Governor Northrum's gun control agenda.
Amen.
So it's happening, people. But and I'm grateful for it. We cannot let up on the fight now. We cannot let up on the fight. They're like a cat toying with a mouse before they stomp it. We're the mice, they're the cats.
And the whole time they're doing that, we're not supposed to see all this other stuff that's going on. Look here, don't look there. Uh-oh, that don't work. Red flag over here. We gotta take the focus off of everything for a minute and go straight to that red flag law for as long as we can. And while we're at the red flag law, we're going to try to change, alter, abolish, or do whatever it is you want to do over here. Then come back here and look what's been done while we were gone.
Yeah.
But that's what's happening. And I got a question. Why are South Carolina absentee ballots found in the state of Maryland?
Good question.
Yeah. This is just one of many questions being asked as the demon rats are pushing for vote by mail elections. Anyone with a first-rate education knows that vote by mail leads to voter fraud, inaccuracy in the count, and is abused in the worst kind of way before, during, and after the elections. Here's a few examples of why we shouldn't use a vote by mail system, real quick. In 2016, 16.4 million mail-in ballots simply disappeared. Can you imagine that? 16.4 million ballots just disappeared.
You mean
in 2018, it was just like 2016, but worse. In 2018, 42.4 million ballots were mailed out. More than 1 million were undeliverable. 430,000 were rejected, and 10.5 million went missing. 10.5 million votes and 16.4. So that comes out to 26.9% of all of the ballots went missing.
You mean like they turned up in the trunk of a rental car in
No,
Florida?
these actually never surfaced again. Or at least not that we were told.
Listen.
But yeah, I remember how it was in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
I remember how they were moving stuff around in trunks of their cars and in U-Haul vans and all kinds of things. And that piece of crap superintendent of elections down there, or whatever her title was, she walked scot-free. She didn't have nothing happen to her. She lost her job, but she was ready to retire anyway.
This is how blatant they are, people. They don't care. They don't care. So, Rooster, yes, I did see that. I actually just watched that. That is disgusting. That at that convalescent home, the video of that kid beating that elderly man, the black kid beating the elderly man. I'll tell you what, that's one kid that needs to be taken out behind the shed and given a pumpkin head. It's perfect example. One other thing that just came up, it says Trump is going to override governors on church closures. Well, now you come out and say it. A little late now.
Yeah, a little late.
It took a church getting blown up before you finally get your head out of the sand and do something about it. Thanks there, Donnie.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. But see, they're not going to protect religious liberty as if it's a Christian. I'll guarantee you those mosques in New York City, they haven't closed. But the synagogues and the Christian churches, they're closed. I mean, heck, the mayor, de Blasio, is even sending over 500 meals a day to the mosque there in New York, just to feed those people. I mean, come on, give me a break.
It's just utterly disgusting, people. I know.
I know. I'll probably get booted off of this video by saying this, but those Muslims up there in New York, they've got more power than all of the Christians in the world. Just that one mosque has more power than all of us, because everybody bows to them. Listen, I don't know. Even the Pope bows to Islam.
Go up to Hancock, New York, where they've been for years in the woods, and nobody's allowed to go up there. And if the public goes up there, they get arrested. It's a training camp, people. That's where they were making videos. They were teaching kids how to come up behind an American and slit their throat.
A jihad training camp. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's
But
exactly what it's
fun.
all about.
But as a militia group, a bunch of guys getting together and wanting to go out in the woods, you'll be raided. Guns will be taken, thrown in jail. So it's disgusting. And if you people aren't outraged yet, you're never gonna be.
I mean, here you have known haters of all Christians and anyone who is not a member of Islam. You're all imbeciles. You know, you're all doomed to die. It's their goal in life. The more of us imbeciles they kill, the more celestial virgins they'll have with them in heaven. Come on, give me a break. I don't tolerate the Muslims for a second. I don't disrespect them, and I don't. I'm not racist towards them in public. I treat them like I do everyone else. But to be honest with you, if you're wearing a head rag and your wife's in a burqa, I'm probably going to walk around you. Just to be honest with you, because I certainly don't want you at my table, and I certainly don't want to shake hands with you or even look you in the eye. And people feel like that all over the country, but yet we have parts of states that now belong to the Muslims. And what's so funny? I see you laughing there, John.
I'll tell you. Go ahead and finish. I'll tell you a little story.
I'm done. I was just running off at the mouth.
One of the times when I had gone up for a surgery, and I was flying back here, I was at Bradley Airport and getting groped while a person in the full burqa shows an ID and walks through. Wait a minute, all you can see is the eyes. So sure. I brought up the issue to TSA, and I was told that they're not going to turn it into a racial issue. And I kindly told them this isn't racial, this is reality. So while I was waiting for my plane, there was another gentleman that was there. He was taking the same flight. And we were talking about it. He said, "Did you see what that just happened there?" And I said, "Yeah." And that person, whoever it was flying on our same flight. And I told him, I said, "I'm telling you right now," I said, "I'm sitting behind them. And if they as much flinch, I'm jumping the seat and choking them till they look like a Smurf. And I ain't letting up. If they start yelling out Allah Akbar, it's done. I'm going to be
full naked choke. Take them right out.
Pathetic. Everybody that was standing in the line got groped, but they took the ID of this person and let them go through.
Sure, because they're afraid. They're afraid they'll offend somebody.
Yeah. Oh, you should have seen the comments I got from TSA. I'm surprised they let me on the flight.
I imagine.
Don't care. I don't care. You know, that's the whole reason why you guys are there, to supposedly protect us from bad people.
Yeah. Yep. And
but you're groping little children and elderly women.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. I was reading something the other day about an 80-year-old woman who was filing a lawsuit because they went beyond normal search. And, I mean, her 80 years old, you know, here they are penetrating her body orifices. So
it's got to stop, people.
Yeah.
People need to band together. Listen, like I said the other night, it's simple. If we don't band together, get used to the taste of leather. That's it. Because you're going to be licking boots for the rest of your life. They are not going to stop.
Yeah.
So stand or spend the rest of your life on your knees getting whipped and working like a dog.
And the thing about it is, here at these airports, you got these $15 an hour NSA people.
Flunkies.
You know, they're flunkies, man. They're the low man on the totem pole when it comes to the NSA. They start and pays like $15 an hour. Come on. Their job is really important, but yet they hire you right off the street.
I don't know. Like I say, they're not going to stop until we stop them. That situation down here in Broward County, that may get ugly. They have gone with petition after petition trying to get it in, and they're locked out down there. They're not allowing the patriots and the people in with their petitions.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. They don't care. They don't care. They're just waving them off. Your opinion means nothing to us is basically what they're telling the people.
Well,
and that case, for those that don't remember, was this unelected official down there who makes $374,000 a year.
uh-huh.
Her idea to solve this problem is to take the elderly people from the convalescent homes if they show any signs of a cough or sniffle. And then when they're done doing that, then they're coming to your house, door to door, and taking anybody out that has a cough or a sniffle. And they think they have a right to do this. And we, the people, are not supposed to say anything or do anything.
Well, that's why they sit around in their these political operatives. They sit around these smoke-filled back rooms of every dark blue state house, city hall, as well as police captains' favorite pool halls around the country. They're sitting around in these smoke-filled bar rooms and back rooms, and they're deciding what's good for us.
Golf course. They're on the golf course deciding. Yeah, you're not supposed to be on the golf course.
That's true. That's true.
Steve Bibbins, he brought up a good point. He said the care homes are hiding info on the desk. Look it up on Arizona Channel 15 is suing the governor. He won't release info on the desk. They're pulling that same crap down here in Florida, Steve. They want to protect us, apparently, and they don't want to release the numbers of deaths. But like I said, 2 of the deaths that they did release, both of them came forward and said, I'm alive and well. I wish they would have told me. So, So where's the credibility there?
I haven't seen any credibility with anything our government's done in quite a while. It's the demon rat party. We've got to remember, that's like you've said many times. Remember who did this to us.
Absolutely.
It's the demon rats, and it's the demon rat people who are supported by demon rats. And, they're attempting to cash in on everything that they can possibly cash in on. And they're cashing in on this pandemic pretty doggone well right now.
They're making tons of money.
Yeah.
They're making tons.
And they're trying, it's because they've dug themselves such a deep hole of debt that they've got to somehow have schemes and special interest groups to help them, get some of their bottom line wiped off.
Everything that's going on and has been going on, people, if you put all the pieces to the puzzle together, it's laying out Agenda 21, Agenda 30.
Yeah.
That's the Rothschild plan and Agenda 21, Agenda 30. This is what it's all about. And you people aren't people, you're peasants. And the sooner that you understand that, the better you'll get along with your masters. And
you're right. That's how they consider themselves.
Absolutely.
They consider themselves as masters over the peasants.
Absolutely.
And believe me, people, if you may have, 3 cars in your driveway and live in a really big, pretty house and all that, but you're just a peasant as well, because you're not, unless you're a part of the global cabal somehow. And shadow government or whatever it is you may be involved in. But if that's the case, you're probably going to be worth a lot more money than that. And you're probably going to be living somewhere where nobody can find you.
Yeah.
So, you're not even the people we need to talk about.
Yeah.
But we need to talk about the great granddaddy demon rats and how they paid off dock workers and butchers and ice vendors, for their votes. But nothing to the Treasury. They didn't bother the Treasury. But it's passed on their corruption in voting to the generations to come. And politics today use the same tricks and tactics. All they care about is getting richer and more powerful while leaving the bill, and you've heard this before, for generations to come to have to pay. We have passed the buck on to the next generation since Vietnam or even before. And now the debt is so high for them, they'll never be able to pay it. So they'll have to run up more debt. So what are we going to turn into? We're almost there already. Are we an indentured nation? I mean, do we owe somebody for everything that we do?
Listen, their end game, and they've come out and said it. Their end game is you will own nothing. The government will own your house. The government will own all property. The government will own your vehicle. It's like the old days of working in the coal mine, where you'd work like a dog every day, and on Friday get paid, take your money that you earned from the coal mine, go to the company store that was owned by the coal mine, buy your food, and then pay your rent on the house that is owned by the coal mine. And on Monday, you're broke, and the only thing you got out of it is black lung. Think about it, people.
That is exactly the way the coal mines worked. I mean, you worked the coal mines, you lived near the coal mines, you know, you all lived in shotgun houses. They all looked alike. And, you know, it wasn't a very good way of living, I'll be honest with you. And like you said, they worked their lives, their kids and their grandkids were all coal miners. They grew up in that scenario and they just never got out of it, because at that time, everybody needed jobs. And these coal miners, like you said, they set it up in such a way to where they were making back every dollar that they had paid out to the miners for that whole week.
So they got
zero. Every dollar back.
Yep. Krabby
zero operating cost. Yeah.
Yep. Krabby McCrapface just brought it up, and I'm glad somebody else is seeing this. The bankers are buying our businesses for pennies on the dollar right now. Yes, they are.
Yep.
Yes, they freaking are. Listen, their end game is no mom and pop stores, no personal businesses. It's going to be the elites, the big box stores, and that's it.
That's all it's going to be around.
Yep. And IT is going to handle most of that, and they don't need you around.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's the thing about it is I don't think a lot of these, well, that's got me thinking a little crazy here, because most of these mom and pop stores are running around now aren't mom and pop stores anymore. They're owned by Indians or Pakistanis or whoever. You know they can't let them go without money. So what are they going to do? They're going to buy their business and give them 5 to 10 years of their normal revenue, just to buy them off. I know that happens. I have relatives who were farmers I've had farmers in my ancestry all the way back to the 1600s. But in Alabama, all of my uncles, I had 7 uncles, they all farmed. And they farmed together, and they farmed thousands of acres. And they got told back in the late 90s to not plant a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't plant nothing, and we're going to give you 85% of your net. Not your gross, your net. Yep. So whatever you netted, they're going to give you 85% of that. So you're only losing 15% of your revenue. Well, you save that by not hiring the farmer, the helpers and the people, the Mexicans and everybody comes in and works the farm. So you save all that money, and they didn't want to go back to farming. They liked getting 85%. I'm wrong. I said their net. They got 85% of their gross. I misspoke. So they actually got more than their net. To not plant a thing.
Yep. And let's take a step back to what you said before that about the Indians and the businesses. And I'm not talking to Native American Indians.
Right.
Do you know how they acquired all these businesses?
Just like the Vietnamese were, they were given to them.
When I was up in New England, I actually worked for a lot of these people. All the ones that own the gas stations, the 7-Elevens and stuff. When they first come to this country, they get 7 years interest-free, tax-free.
Mm-hmm.
They pay nothing. A short story real quick. A gas station that I used to stop at up in Northeast Connecticut was owned by a guy, and his name was Jimmy. He was kind of funny. One day I went in there, and he was on the phone with somebody, and he was dropping the F-bomb and screaming and yelling. Well, he hung up the phone, and I asked him what his problem was, and his 7 years were up. And they told him that his steel tanks underground needed to be replaced, and they told him how many tens of thousands of dollars it was going to cost them. And he said, absolutely not. He was pissed. His free ride was up. So I laughed at him. I said, it's nice to be an American, isn't it, huh? Now you know what we feel like when we come into your place all the time, and you're living on our dime for 7 years, interest-free and tax-free. I said, don't expect any sympathy out of me. Bobby, the next day I went by that gas station and the place was stripped bare. In the middle of the night, they moved out. And you know who got stuck with the bill? The taxpayers in Connecticut got stuck with the bill to clean the mess up.
Sure. Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. I remember when I first got out of the military the first time in 75, my dad and I went to a place that we used to go to all the time. I mean, when I was a kid, and we all, the whole family went, and they had the best hot dogs, and I had scooped ice cream that they had, that there was going. So we'd go there a lot to eat. When I came home from the military the first time, my dad and I went there, and I was expecting to see, you know, the old fit folks that had been there all those years, and it was a Vietnamese family, and they had a Cadillac in out front.
Oh yeah, oh I know.
You know, and Dad, he worked. He was a purchasing director, so he worked numbers, and he told me. I says, well, how did this happen? Because I'd been in Germany. I was unaware. And he said they just came in here and they told them, we're giving you fair market value for this place. And they bought it from the people who started it, had it for 40 years.
Yeah.
Bought it, kept the name, kept everything just like it was, moved in that Vietnamese family, bought him a Cadillac and her a Cadillac. And back then, split level houses were the thing.
Yeah.
You know, 2-story houses with a full basement. That's like having 3 floors.
You know, I don't have a problem helping people.
Set them up free.
I don't have a problem helping people.
And brought them from Vietnam.
But damn it, you don't forget the people that are footing the bill.
Well, you remember when they had those picture of all those people there at the Hanoi Hilton on the rooftop trying to get on the helicopters? Well, these people were supposedly some of those people.
Yeah.
And those people got preferential treatment because they got on the news. So, but anyway, that's just the way it is, people, in the world today.
Couple things. Krabby McCrabface. Funny you should say that. That's where I was a cop.
Where's that?
It's Fight and Defend. Connecticut is looking for police. Quite a shortage going on. Yeah. Well, I was one of the ones who left. Jeff B. Yes. Harlan County, USA. It's a documentary on the coal mines. Harlan County. I'll tell you
Harlan. Harlan.
Land. Harlan.
Harlan.
Yeah, Harlan County. You guys, if you get a minute, watch that. This is how crazy it was. They had a slaughter there years ago. It was the coal miners against the owners. They were arguing with the owners, and the owners brought in some thugs, and there was a shootout in Harlan County.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You got to watch that. We're repeating history, and everybody wonders why the schools don't teach history, because we haven't learned. And once again, we're repeating history. It's happening again, people.
And it's not going to stop until we make it stop. Somebody's got to stop it. It's never going to stop itself. It's just going to continue to roll downhill like a snowball headed straight to Hades.
Yep.
And it's not going to survive. But I want to thank everybody for coming in tonight. Philip Turner, Krabby McCrabface, thank you for being here. Linda Horner, California Critic. Good to see you back, brother. I've missed you. Let's see. Jeff B., my dear friend. By the way, you should be getting something in the mail pretty soon. Philip Turner, Miss Mary. Sam Reports, our dear sister and friend and commentator on Wednesday night, along with us. Scarecrow, thank you again for that kind PayPal donation. New York Outcast, thank you, Steve Bevins. Thank you, Rooster Cogburn and New York Outcast. Let's see. Armed American Mindbender, thank you, brother, for being here. Invader Zim and Dan Pete. There's been some good people in here tonight. It was a good chat. And the chat, believe it or not, makes the video. It makes the stream go by. And without people in the chat, we'd just be sitting here talking to ourselves. So It's good to have these people in here, and I want to ask you to keep coming back.
Yeah.
Come back. We go live on Friday nights at 7:30, Sunday nights at 7:30, Wednesday nights at 7:30.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday morning at 11 a.m., I do a short Bible study. So if you are so inclined, join us Sunday night for Deplorable Bobby, the way I see it, with my dear friend and brother, Fight and Defend. And we'll bring you the rest of what's going on that you haven't heard about yet.
Yeah.
So,
and CC, keep up the good work and letting us know what's going on out there in California. It's good to see you in here again.
Yeah, brother. It's good to see you, all of you. It's always good to see you.
Pop in you and check your drops often. Just life's been a little crazy right now. Been very, very busy. So, but keep up the good work and let us know what's going on in Cali, because what starts in Cali ends up flowing over to the rest of the country. So,
yeah. Yeah, except the ocean. It can't reach the Rockies, but
yeah,
everything else will just flood us. And the same thing with the upper East Coast. Everything's flooding down from there. We're being attacked from both ends. But we're going to stand firm. We're going to stand strong, and we're going to stay tough, and we're going to be prepared.
Yeah.
So stay prepared, everybody.
We're all in this together.
That's it. We're in this together. It's none of us should ever feel like we stand alone.
No.
So,
we can't. Not now. I'm telling you.
So you want to be a part of this group? That when YouTube finally takes this channel away from me, and we all scatter to the four corners of the earth, get with Linda Horner. She's trying to put together a call list and for people who'd like to give their phone numbers or email, something like that, so we can try to stay in touch in case YouTube does go away. So with that said, Fight and Defend, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure having you on here, and I'll be talking to you tomorrow, I guess. It'll probably be in the afternoon, because I think I'm going to the emergency room in the morning and have this thing checked on.
Well,
it's not getting any better after 3 weeks. So
yeah,
I'll let y'all know what happens at the emergency room. I may do a live stream, especially if it's bad news. So anyway, I'll be talking to y'all. God bless.
Make sure you don't go in with the sniffles. For God's sakes, they'll have you on a ventilator.
Yeah, I'm good to go that way.
It's $40,000 they get if they put you on the ventilator.
All right. Well, I'll make sure I don't get put in the hospital. How about that?
There you go.
I'll put my concealed carry on, and that way, if they try to put me in a room, I can shoot my way out. Just joking. I will leave my piece in the car. I won't take it in the hospital. They don't appreciate that. All right, everybody. Good night. I'll see y'all at 11 a.m. Sunday morning for a short Bible study. So join us then, and then join us Sunday night, 7:30. Fight and Defend and I will be back doing the same thing again. So thank you for being here tonight, and we'll talk to you Sunday. And we are going out of here, guys. Have a good weekend.